You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Voters revolt against McConnell health scandal by hijacking major event, based on an article by Thomas Kekut. McConnell's Vanishing Act is a power problem, not a human mystery. The only question that matters: Mitch McConnell's absence has become a spectacle, but the spectacle is not the scandal. The scandal is institutional. A Senate seat, a party machine, and a public office are being treated like a private holding pattern while everyone else is left to guess how long one man's collapse can be managed before it becomes politically inconvenient. The source gives the outline. McConnell has not been seen publicly since a mid-June hospitalization. His office insists he is recovering, and party insiders are staring at the special election deadline. That is enough to identify the real story. The question is not whether voters are being rude at Fancy Farm. The question is who is still controlling power while refusing the basic accountability that comes with it. Power lives with the seat. McConnell is not just a sick man in a vacuum. He is a sitting senator whose absence still carries institutional force. His office can issue statements, distribute polished proof-of-life photos, and keep the machinery moving long enough to preserve the seat. That is power. That is not transparency. The source notes that if he does not resign or otherwise vacate the seat by the deadline, he holds it until January 2027. That detail matters more than the gossip. It means the machinery of representation can be frozen by a single office's refusal to tell the truth plainly. In practical terms, the seat remains Republican control unless the legal trigger for a special election is activated. The public is being asked to accept delay as normal. The misdirection is the point. The weak framing here is the insistence on mystery, as if this were an unsolved personal drama instead of a managed political condition. Conservative power loves this kind of fog. It converts accountability into etiquette, then presents the absence of information as somehow neutral. The office's statement about missing the picnic is almost insulting in its banality. It leans on nostalgia, local ritual, and soft language about recovery while sidestepping the obvious issue, whether the public is being denied timely clarity because clarity would force consequences. The conspiracies flourish in that vacuum, but the vacuum itself is created by people with the authority to fill it. The chants tell the truth. The "Where's Mitch?" chants at Fancy Farm are not the substance of the story, but they do expose the political weather. Voters are not responding to a rumor. They are responding to a long gap between a public official's office and the public itself. The event was hijacked because the normal choreography failed. People refuse to pretend this was ordinary. The source says Democrats in attendance led the chants. That matters, but not as partisan theater. It matters because Democrats are the only actors in this story behaving like the vacancy risk is a Democratic problem, not a private family matter. The Republicans around McConnell are, by contrast, benefiting from delay. That is the relevant asymmetry. What this reveals about the party system. McConnell spent decades as one of the sharpest institutional operators in the Senate. Now the system built around him reveals its deepest habit: protect the office, obscure the condition, and let the public absorb the uncertainty. This is how elite politics in America often works, not through open confrontation, but through procedural drift and strategic silence. The deeper pattern is not unique to McConnell. It is what happens when power is treated as entitlement rather than trust. A debilitated incumbent becomes a governance asset. A missing senator becomes a managed inconvenience, and the public is told to treat opacity as decorum. Conclusion: the real corruption is the delay. The story is not that voters are obsessed with a missing senator. It is that a political class keeps asking voters to tolerate disappearance while preserving the benefits of office. That is the corruption, not just whatever happened in June, but the decision to let institutional power outlive accountability for as long as possible. McConnell's Vanishing Act shows how far the Republican model can go when it is allowed to separate power from responsibility. The seat is still real. The consequences are still real. The honesty is what's missing. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Marcus. Thanks for listening.